The bottom line is oil and gold are rising again after President Donald Trump called for the evacuation of Tehran following earlier optimism that the Israel-Iran conflict would remain contained. Silver is also up, performing pretty well, almost as strongly as oil.
Welcome to the Morning Markets and Metals with Vince Lanci, where each morning Vince brings you the financial and precious metals news to get you ready for your day. And now, here's Vince.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vince Lanci. This is the Gold Fix Market Rundown. Front page, top left, Singapore aims at COMEX LBMA gold markets. That's a popular news item. I think it's unlocked for everyone. You could see the rest of the stories there, but the one I want to focus on, the one that we will focus on this morning, is the one that just went out. A current event, geopolitical update, oil and gold, top right-hand corner, surge on Trump's Tehran warning. Temporary calm reverses. That's the subtitle. You can see the rest of the stories there. Let's take a look at the markets first before we cover that. 10-year yields are 441, down almost 4. The dollar is 98.12, down 1. The S&P 500 is down 23, recovering off its lows. The VIX is up a full point at 20 and change. Gold is 33.88, up 3. It was up about 10. Silver 36.97, up 66. It was up about 75, but it's holding its gains. Copper 479 and change, up a penny. WTI 73.14, up $1.60 and change. Natural gas 371, up 8 cents. Bitcoin down $1,000 in sympathy with stocks. Bitcoin and stocks are doing the same thing right now. Palladium, platinum both up. Gold, silver down 1.5. Grains are all up, with wheat leading the charge. Okay, so the main story, or the story this morning: oil, gold, and silver surge on Trump's Tehran warning. That's the story. Let's get right to it. The bottom line is oil and gold are rising again after President Donald Trump called for the evacuation of Tehran following earlier optimism that the Israel-Iran conflict would remain contained. Now, silver is also up, outperforming essentially, performing pretty well, almost as strongly as oil. So we have to throw that in there because it's silver and it's probably up for the same reasons, but not directly. All right. So what happened leading up to this? Well, markets had initially reacted with optimism on reports that Iran signaled openness to de-escalate tensions, I should say, with Israel, and resume nuclear negotiations with the U.S. and Israel at the table with them. However, those gains proved short-lived during the day yesterday. During the G7 summit in Canada, President Trump and Secretary Rubio abruptly announced their early departure from it. Now, though public statements cited the escalating situation in the Middle East, their exit raised speculation about the U.S.'s role in a potential broader conflict. That picture is blurred out intentionally. There are a lot of nuances to discuss here. We have a post on this, and it includes what happened, the background, and a war decision tree analysis, Iran's path, and ING's commodity comment on the new developments in a post in Premium titled Geopolitics, Oil and Gold Surge on Trump's Tehran Warning. Now, to put a little color on this, this is the first, you're looking at the first page, the table of contents of that post. But we want to put a little color on this because I think you're seeing a conflict in takes and perceptions. There's the worst case scenario, which is JP Morgan. Oil can go to 120. And that's legitimate, and we made our point clear about why we agree with that, at least somewhat. And we agree with that because the Strait of Hormuz is not the safe space it used to be. Uh, that's the first thing. Then the other side of the table is we've read a couple takes where this won't be bad. It'll be like last time. And last time was the last significant one was in 2019, where the bombing, the counter bombing, and it's over. Almost like they're negotiating for face, but not really doing anything. Um, we think it's neither of those, but it's not very headline grabbing. We aim to make it a headline now. The problem is chronic. Okay. You have something that starts out like a one and done bombing, counter bombing, and it's over. And we've seen a chart by Morgan Stanley to that effect, and it's actually quite accurate. However, to think that it will end that way with the U.S. pulling out of the Middle East, with the U.S. giving Israel either express or implicit permission to do whatever the hell it needs, and not being the global policeman is to be fucking naive. The world is different. And so we may step in, but not where you want us to. Okay. Trump's behavior, while seemingly erratic and attention grabbing, is really appropriate for the situation. And to put a point on that, I'll skip right to number 8, our final comment. It's both. So on one side, if you look at Trump's behavior, Trump has been almost predicting with his little comments or leaks what's going to happen. Be careful of this, and then boom, it happens. And you could say that he's just wanting attention. You could also say that his leaks have been designed to tell Iran to get to the table. We view them as both, meaning yesterday, Trump said, we think people should evacuate Tehran. Sounds like an attention-grabbing headline, right? Well, the people in Tehran are evacuating. They're taking it pretty seriously. And in taking it pretty seriously, that should tell you something. And for us, it says that either Trump doesn't want to or cannot stop Israel from ultimately defending itself how it sees fit, whether you believe it has merit or not. And so he's telling Iran, yeah, I'd love to negotiate for you guys. I'd love to negotiate with you guys, but time is running out. And I really think that this is going to be $120 oil tomorrow, which is one extreme take, and the other one, I think this is one and done. They're both wrong. This is the beginning of a chronic Middle East problem, and that is destability is now the norm in the world. Every area of the world now has little wars, and the Middle East is one that could get a lot bigger, and oil is telling you that. So it's not one and done. Those people who think it's over, it's just starting, okay? Those people who think it's going to $120 and then it'll be done, it's not happening. It's going to be rising risk premium and everything. So the floor in gold gets raised because people don't want to sell it. They may not buy it, but they ain't selling it anymore. Oil, any little thing that happens is going to raise oil now. Now, I wouldn't call this little, but the news this morning is crude oil tankers, I'm not sure how to say, Adeline and Front Eagle collided in the Gulf of Oman. That's I'm paraphrasing Zero Hedge there. And basically, UK tankers are colliding because GPS isn't working properly in that area. Now, why isn't it working that properly? Because both sides of the war are jamming each other's, tracking or satellite or whatever the hell they call it, and that affects business. So the world is going into a shitstorm, a slow shitstorm. So anyway, we think you're nuts if you think it's one and done. And we also think, they desperately don't want it to be $120 oil overnight. Moving on, that's all covered in that post. Moving on. Related posts, we just mentioned the first one, Basel III. You can see all the posts there. The fourth one in, observing Iran from the east, that's from Mavs. He's in Asia, macro fund manager, and he's trying to give a view of the Iran situation from a China perspective, which is probably opportunistic. We'll be looking more at that later on today. Data on deck, wrapping up. Tuesday is 8:30 a.m. U.S. retail sales, and we want to remind you that this is Fed week and that June 30th is an important day, over 36, over 35 for silver, but we're going to get 36 now. Let's look at the charts, right? I mean, forget the news. Let's look at the markets. All right, so silver daily, it's on, right? I'll tell you why. This is on because over the last 2 days, you've been seeing silver and gold and copper do like a little bit of a dance, war on, war off, right? The gold silver ratio has been a reflection of that. Today, gold and silver so far today, who knows what's going to happen the rest of the day? Gold and silver rallied, ostensibly on the news, on the increased fear, on the Tehran evacuation, on the Trump statements, on the UK tanker collision. Gold gave it back. Silver really didn't. Silver's in play. Anyway, and you know how I know it's in play? Because 1/3 of my options position expired yesterday. And of course, today the market is higher. If we settle above 36.95, I'm going to say that we should get another dollar in silver very quickly. Should, right? So above 36.95, I'm going to get longer. And if it settles above 36.95 until it goes back below 36.95, I'm going to stay long, expecting a full dollar in the next several days. Who knows? Could be right. Might be right.
Well, thanks for watching this morning's Markets and Metals with Vince Lanci. We sure appreciate you tuning in and starting your day with us here. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Please note that this video is not intended as legal licensed financial trading advice and is to be used for informational purposes only. Please contact your financial advisor before making any decisions, and thanks for watching.